Welcome! This is Records Roundup number 84. Got quite a bit to show you today. A lot of new releases, a few other kind of random and perhaps not impulsive pickups, but impulsive enough, I suppose, compared to my normal collecting. Anyway, let's forgo the preamble and just get straight on with it. First is a new release or a re-release of a single. This one was delayed from January up until the end of May. I purchased it from Resident Music down in Brighton, and it is the latest in the Suede 30 picture disc campaign. This one is New Generation. So the third single from Dogman Star. I've been collecting all of these almost since they were coming out. I was a bit late with the first one, but I managed to pick it up later on, and I've been pre-ordering these ever since. So they're releasing all the singles from the first two albums. This is the final single from the second album, Dogman Star. Suede, of course, have been in the music related news recently because they've got a new album coming out, and yes, I have pre-ordered my copy. That's out in September, I think. But really glad that this eventually got released. I don't know why it took so long when it was originally supposed to come out back in January, but it doesn't matter. I knew it would be on its way eventually. Bit pricey as all these are. I think this was about $18.99, and that's not including postage. But I do like these picture discs, so really happy to have New Generation by Suede. On to, I think, 3 12-inch singles now, all bought from Discogs. First one is for my Pet Shop Boys collection, and I don't collect all Pet Shop Boys singles. I have explained this in the past, but certain kind of standalone releases and certain remixes that they've done, I like to add to the collection. And this was one. I did used to have it on CD single many years ago, so I'm happy that I've got this back into the collection. It's not credited to Pet Shop Boys technically, but it is them for all intents and purposes. Of course, it's the Red Nose Day single, I think it was, for Comic Relief in 1994. Absolutely fabulous. 4-track 12-inch. This was quite expensive considering its age, and it's not mint condition, but it's very good, I would say, at least. But the 12-inch must be a little bit rarer than the 7-inch, but I wanted the 12-inch as it's got more tracks on it. I have got a 7-inch Pet Shop Boys single, but that was an Electronic Sound magazine exclusive, so I tend, when it's like a standalone Pet Shop Boys related release like this really is, I will try and look for the 12-inch above the 7-inch. Bit of a look at the vinyl. It is just black vinyl. But great fun this. Great sort of Euro techno pastiche, I suppose you could call it. And of course it's got the samples from Joanna Lumley and Jennifer Saunders from Ab Fab. A series I never really got into, weirdly enough, and I'm a big comedy fan, as many of you know. And I've seen bits of it and I've kind of enjoyed it, but just not enjoyed it enough to properly watch. Absolutely fabulous. But love the single anyway.
Fabulous, wonderful individual.
Thank you.
And remember, I've known you longer than your daughter.
Champa's alright for you, Pat.
Lovely, sweetie.
Should we finish off the beluga or should we have some
smoked salmon and nibbly things.
Oh, whatever, sweet.
All right, we'll finish off the blue. Doll summer's dawning. Beep, 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 bop, bop, bop. Doll summer's dawning. Right on time, right on time. Techno, techno, bloody techno, darling. It's fabulous stuff. It's fabulous. Chanel, Dior, Lagerfeld, Givenchy, Gaultier, darling. Names, names, names.
Also Pet Shop Boys related, so I'm going to file this with my Pet Shop Boys collection, but it isn't a single from them, and they only provide one remix on here. I do own this remix on, I think it features on the Disco 4 PSB compilation. This came up, I think it came up at random when I was looking at stuff from a seller on Discogs, and it is this one, Yoko Ono, Walking on Thin Ice. The seller has separated the disc out here. I got this because it's got a Pet Shop Boys remix on the B-side. I don't think I've heard the Danny Tenaglia Walked Across the Lake mix. Those times there look like someone wrote them in, but that doesn't matter. I don't actually mind a little bit of writing on second-hand record sleeves as long as it's not too much and it's just ruining the sleeve. And this was cheap anyway. Didn't cost much, can't remember exactly how much. And I think I bought it with something else. Yeah, I bought it with the next thing actually. The main thing that I was searching for. Walking on Thin Ice by Yoko Ono.
Walking on thin ice, I'm paying the price for throwing that ice in the air. Why must we learn it the hard way and play the game of life with your heart? I gave you my life. You gave me my life. Like a casual wind in my hair. Why do people care what's been said and play the game of life with our hearts?
And the other 12-inch single from that particular seller on Discogs Marketplace is the one remaining People Like Us single that I wanted for my collection. Certainly vinyl single. I think there's one or two that may have come out on CD or even mini CD that I haven't got. But I've been looking for a copy of this single for ages. And it is Home Rome Play. Not much to look at. Once again, it's been separated out. I'll just dispose of that protective outer sleeve for a moment, just so I can get this in properly. It's got Home Rome Play on the A side and Matt Moss versus People Like Us Work All Day on the B. And I'm now trying to find where to open this. There we are. Nice quality generic sleeve there. It always came in a generic sleeve, this. Good price for this. I think it was under 15. The only other place I'd seen this for sale anywhere was some record shop in America, I think in the New York area, and just the amount they were asking for postage was making it prohibitive, and then there would have been taxes as well on top of that. So to suddenly see a listing from a UK Discogs seller at a very reasonable price, and I also got the Yoko Ono single from there as well. I had to snap this up instantly. Apparently, and I've spoke to Vicky Bennett, aka People Like Us, directly about this because I was asking her if she actually had any leftover copies when I purchased the Wet Sounds limited edition of one album from her a couple of years ago. And she was asking me what gaps I had in my collection, and I'd mentioned this, and she said, oh, that was a bad pressing, that was. It never played right for anyone. And there was actually a note about that on the listing. I think it gets stuck at some point, only on side A, but I just want it because I'm a completist with a lot of these artists, and it doesn't feature on an album. I don't think it does anyway, unless it's on a compilation and I've forgotten. But Home Rome Play by People Like Us. Really happy that I finally got that. But we do stick with People Like Us because they've had a new album come out, except it's not new because it came out on CD last year. I did pre-order the CD, got that last year, and it got a vinyl release, and I decided I would get that too. It's Copia, Vicky's latest studio album. This was from her Bandcamp page. I don't tend to double up with People Like Us. I do have quite a lot of her CDs, but that's really the CDs that are never going to get a vinyl issue, because this is just one artist trying to sort of make a living, and you know, a lot of stuff now, if she does get to re-release it, it's in very limited quantities from sort of boutique labels. This is a bit more of a sort of general release, as it's from the Belgian, I think she said Belgian, record label Discrepant, who have released previous People Like Us albums. So there'll be more of these, but even so, there's not going to be a whole lot of these in the world. I will keep the CD, I think, because there's more tracks on it. This is a truncated version of Copia, to be fair. So although I don't really double up normally with Vicky, in this case I will make an exception. It's on black vinyl, this, by the way, and it is still sealed. Copia. Next one, this came out, brand new album from my favourite heavy metal band. And no, that isn't Rammstein, because I never call them heavy metal, I call them industrial or even dance metal. However, this is my favourite, I would say, heavy metal band, and I do mean kind of hair metal, doom rock, you know, kind of almost cartoon rock. I think you probably know by now who I'm referring to, as they've got all that lore behind them, or behind him, as it's really just one guy. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling about it because I'm talking about Skeletor, the brand new album from Ghost. Not listened to this yet. I've been desperate to listen to it, but I've just been holding off and getting other things done, and I've been having some work done in the house this week as well, so that's kind of delayed me from certain things. But this is my first purchase from Wax and Beans, a record shop in Bury near Manchester. I saw Martin Harris a while ago. Shout out to my good friend Martin, of course. Brilliant YouTube channel. I've talked about him plenty of times before. He bought, which one was it that he got? It was The Darkness, Dreams on Toast. And he might have got another of these special Wax and Beans editions. They call their exclusives the Now Spinning editions. And what makes them exclusive is they include this thing here that's contained within this flap. And they call it a slice. Now, it's really a magnet, and you can stick it on your fridge, or I guess your car. I wouldn't recommend that. But the best thing to do is put it on one of these. It's basically one of those record holding plinths. When you're listening to your Ghost album, then put this on the magnetic side, which I'll show you in a moment, because there's something else pretty cool I want to show you. Only out of 250, and mine, even though I was quite late pre-ordering this, I was number 11. Not only that though, another thing that makes this a Wax and Beans exclusive, because otherwise this particular edition would just be a general Indies record stores only edition. Just being careful with that plinth, because it's a heavy thing, that. I'm calling it a plinth, there's a better name for it, and I've just forgotten it. So the Indies edition comes out on opaque violet vinyl. It came unsealed, but there was a reason for that, because Wax and Beans held a Ghost Skeletor listening party, I think at midnight the day it came out at the end of April. And anyone who attended got their album with a special stamp. And they decided for anyone who had ordered via mail order, such as me, they would unseal it and stamp the inside, because apparently people who were at the listening party and getting the outer sleeve stamped, they just weren't drying, and it was a bit of a disaster. And they stamped it, and then they waited a few days to make sure it was definitely dry, and then sent this out. So just a quick look at the vinyl, but I want to go back to the now spinning or now playing record holder in a moment, because I got something for it that people who've been following my Jimmy Barnes Plays account on Instagram will have seen, but there'll be some watching here who won't know what I'm talking about. Just keep this out for now. So I was saying that This slice here, plus the wooden plinth, which is really good quality. I'm so impressed. It's got some weight to it. It's nicely made. The whole package was about £55. The album, this, and then of course this, and the stamp is, yeah, didn't really matter about that. For future now spinning editions, and they have released a few of these now, I'm going to keep my eye out and look out for more. But because you don't necessarily want more than one of these, you can just get the album and the slice, he says as something drops down. Now, when Martin got his, he'd also got like a generic wax and beans magnet or slice as well as his darkness one. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to get my own made, because that's the front side. So while it's got this lovely carving of the wax and beans logo, I mean, that is really nice. It's a shame it gets covered up really, but it's also got these magnets on the front, which, you know, they're fine, but they don't look particularly good. So I thought, well, for when I'm not listening to Ghost, which will be most of the time, so that's how the Ghost slice looks. But I found a company and I was able to get something very similar done. I think almost the exact same dimensions as well. I got my very own Jimmy Barnes wax and beans now playing magnet or slice, which I can just use generally. It's got the YouTube/social media logo on, and although it looks like I'm kind of advertising wax and beans, like I'm hoping for some sort of endorsement from them, the only reason I really included their logo is because that's covering up the part of their carved logo here. And it's just because this is such a good thing, it's a good product, I felt, you know, taking all these pictures for Instagram, I really should have their logo on this, because it's their product, it's where I got it from, and it's nice to sort of pass that information on in a visual form. So yes, anyway, I know I've spent quite a lot talking about a big piece of wood. There's obviously the indentation to put your vinyl in to display it and take pictures, as I do. I love that plinth and the slice so much. The main thing was to get the album, new studio album from Ghost, Skeletor, and I'll be certainly looking out for more Wax and Beans Now Spinning editions where I can add to my numbered slice collection.
We all need something to believe in until it's over. Anything, anyone, anytime, but it's not over yet. This is what dreams are made of. This is what they're afraid of. A life with no reason. When they finally reach you, you will have seen through the darkest the season. Your love bright as the starlight. Oh child, still we can see. Like a moon over the peace field. Oh child, stay close to me.
Slightly impulsive pickup from Amazon now, but not that impulsive because I do collect this range. It's not one single artist, but it's a series of compilation albums from the European label ZYX. It's the Greatest Hits and Remixes series, and I think this is the latest one that's got a vinyl reissue. They've all come out on CD many years previous, but this one from Mark O. Now, his name rang a very vague bell, and I think his biggest hit, Tears Don't Lie, which hopefully you'll see me play a little bit of in a moment, that did make the UK top 40 or maybe scrape the top 30. Basically kind of like a Eurodance, almost happy hardcore artist really, which obviously is well up my street. Almost all in fact, of the ZYX Greatest Hits and Remix compilations are from Italo disco artists, but there is one or two exceptions in there, like I've got albums in the range from Capella and Wakefield as well. There's even a Rednecks one that I'm kind of thinking I probably will want to get at some point when I see it at the right price. These generally don't tend to be a lot of money. This one I think was just under 15. That's about the most I'd pay for them, as they are pretty bare bones releases really. Tears Don't Lie, by the way, you'll be familiar with the melody to it if you're not familiar with Mark's version itself. as it uses the melody from When a Child is Born, but in a kind of techno-y, hardcore-y, 1990s cheesy European dance sort of way. Greatest hits and remixes from Mr. Mark O. Another new release, and it is a new album rather than a reissue of something old. It is a brand new double LP from Laibach, and this is, and apologies that I may be pronouncing it wrong, Alamut, or Alamut maybe. There's some information on screen. I know it's based on some sort of Persian story. It's very weird, the concept behind it, as a lot of Laibach stuff is. I've not listened to any of this yet. Pre-ordered it and it came from Mute Bank a few weeks ago. Not listened to it yet, still new and sealed, and it is black vinyl, this by the way. And Mute are very good at sending you the digital files as well if you want to listen to the, I think, high res as well, MP3s or whatever the file format is. I don't bother with that. I just want to listen to the vinyl or the CD if it's a CD I've bought, etc. But I know that it's handy for a lot of people to get the album that they've bought physically in a digital high resolution form as well. But I've not listened to any of it. I think it's quite sort of classical and avant-garde, which doesn't surprise me. Whether I'll enjoy it as much as other Laibach albums that I love, such as Opus Dei, Let It Be, The Sound of Music, NATO, etc., probably not, but I'm a Laibach collector and completist, so I've definitely got to get Alamut. Then, before we get to the mail openings, which there's two of, I decided I would buy the first album from an act. I intended to get this at least 2 years ago. It might be getting on for 3 now. And it just slipped my mind. And although I was getting updates about this act from Bandcamp emails, I just not got round to embellishing my collection. But I thought, you know what, as they've got a new album coming out, and this isn't it, I haven't actually ordered that yet. On the day of me recording, it's officially come out today, but hopefully I won't miss out and I'll go on their Bandcamp page and order one very soon. But I got this from Juno Records. It's the first studio album from Sally Shapiro, Disco Romance. It is a double album. Sally Shapiro, a kind of new Italo act. Talked about them before, but not for quite a while, as this is the first Sally Shapiro album I've bought in a while. They've only released 5, including the one that's just come out today, and I've got the, I think, 3rd and 4th. So I did order the second album on Amazon actually, but that's coming from Switzerland, so I'll be able to show you that in the next Records Roundup, and possibly I'll be able to show you the new album as well, assuming that I've been able to buy it and it having been delivered in time. I'll get this open because there was 2 different versions and I paid a little bit more for, I think, the marbled white vinyl, and there's no hype sticker that says it's definitely that. I mean, Juno are brilliant, and even if they have sent me the wrong one, I don't think I'm really going to complain about it. But if I did, they would probably give me some sort of partial refund, knowing them. I seem to sing the praises of Juno Records on a regular basis on the channel lately, but with good reason, because if you are in the UK and you're doing online record shopping and you've not bothered checking out Juno yet, then really have a word with yourself. What are you doing? Moment of truth. Is this the white? I can tell it was before I'd even pulled it out here. Yeah, marbled white there, looking sort of dull and beige on camera, but with a bit of light through it, it's a nice effect with the black marbling that if I hold it really close you might be able to see some. I don't know, it might look better in editing, who knows. And the other disc will look more or less the same. Great act. I don't know why it took me this long to continue collecting them, really, as I enjoyed the 2 albums that I've had now for must be the best part of 3 years. I'm intending to, sooner rather than later, have a full Sally Shapiro collection now. I think that's backing okay. So Disco Romance on white marbled double vinyl by the Swedish duo, and it is a duo even though the singer is also called Sally Shapiro. Well, it's not a real name, but it's a duo called Sally Shapiro.
It was a perfect day, but I couldn't enjoy it without you. I wish it didn't mean so much when I grabbed you by the hand. Sometimes I think too much about things. I think I give you too much time, but it feels like I want to give something back for everything you mean to me. I want to give something back for everything you mean to me. Spend this winter with me, oh Jackie, I just can't make up your mind. Tonight we fly. Oh Jackie, still wait by the phone. Oh Jackie, I don't wanna be alone. So come along with me tonight.
Right, mail openings now. This one, I believe, is from Revived Vinyl Records. They're in Winsford in Cheshire. I've used them a few times. Very reliable. Another recommendation from old Jimbo. And when this was announced a couple of months ago, I was very surprised. It feels a bit of a cash grab, but it is an album that I don't own on vinyl, and I did say earlier on that we would get back to this act, and now's the time. What I'm talking about is Discography by Pet Shop Boys. It's the original Pet Shop Boys compilation album. It's been slightly updated, the sleeve, to say 1985 to 1991, which is sensible really, because any kind of younger or casual fan might see this in the shops, see, oh, Discography the singles collection, and just think it's got modern Pet Shop Boys stuff on it, when no, it hasn't, because it's a strict reissue of the 1991 compilation, split out over 2 LPs. I did used to have this on mini disc, funnily enough, and it's one I decided to sell. I haven't sold many of my mini discs, and please don't ask me to sell any of them to you if you know that I've got a certain one that you're after. My mini disc collection, what I've got, which is quite extensive still, even though there was some that I sold years ago just to make some money and to thin the collection out a little. I do collect Pet Shop Boys on vinyl as well as CD, and it's on coloured vinyl. Let's have a quick look at it. It's not been out on vinyl since its original 1991 issue, this. I don't know how much call there was for this, because they had that Smash compilation that came out only, was that 3 years ago? Might have even been less than that, might have been more like 2. Nice, more or less transparent blue there. There's one of the inner sleeves as well. It's a very familiar looking design for me, because I've got the CD, even though I did sell the mini disc. In fact, I think I bought the CD after I sold the mini disc, and the difference in price was, as you can imagine, astonishing. The CD cost me a pence, really, whereas the mini disc, I don't know what I paid for it, but I know I sold it at quite a considerable amount. Not exactly essential, really, but as I'm doubling up with Pet Shop Boys on CD and vinyl, it was one I really couldn't refuse. So there is Discography. And finally, a mail opening that's come all the way from the Netherlands, specifically Music on Vinyl. Now, I did mention about this in the last Records Roundup, because this act had a single reissued for Record Store Day, and Music on Vinyl handled that. This hadn't been confirmed at that point, but it looked almost certain that it was going to get a reissue. I don't think this ever came out on vinyl until now. I have the CD. It's an act I will instantly double up on, because they are New Order related, and it is the second and to date final studio album from Monaco, self-titled Monaco. Familiar music on vinyl style packaging here. We've got the adhesive outer sleeve, big old hype sticker on the front there. This is a limited edition of 2,000 copies. My number is 1380. Pete Hook, David Potts. If you've watched any of my New Order collection update videos, then you're probably sick of hearing the name Pete Hook, really. I've got both of Monaco's albums on vinyl now. They were both reissued by Music on Vinyl, as well as the single for Record Store Day this year, I've Got a Feeling. So yeah, the Monaco collection seems to be completed now, really, because I've got other 12-inch and 7-inch singles by them as well. Let's get this open. I was thinking that I might not bother, but as it's a different colour to the other not black vinyl that I've shown today, I figure I probably ought to give you a quick butchers, even though I always feel like I'm fighting with these Music on Vinyl adhesive sleeves. But it is gatefold, and as I've taken it out of there, I can show you. So that's very nice. Oh, and that's actually a new essay there from Claude Flowers, who wrote the sleeve notes in January 2025. Claude Flowers wrote a really good New Order biography some years ago. I think it was the first New Order book I ever bought, and I've bought pretty much all of them since I started being a proper New Order collector in the mid-90s. And he also once sent me a nice Facebook message as well, as I was writing to him asking for some advice about publishing, which unfortunately I never really took him up on. But it was nice of him to respond anyway, as he didn't know me from Adam, and I was interested in writing a book at that point. I'd still love to, but it's finding the time and dedicating all that effort. And I know self-publishing now is easier than ever, and it was starting to become like that when I messaged him, which would have been maybe getting on 15 years ago. But anyway, going back to this, it's a good album. This didn't hardly do anything in the chart, and Monaco were basically kind of done and dusted, apart from occasional live appearances. And then, of course, Peter Hook and The Light. We'll have a video on them very soon on the channel. Look out for it. Potsy is in Pete Hook and The Light, so they still work together. Monaco still exists, they're just part of a wider, I was going to call them a Joy Division and New Order tribute band, but I'm not going to get bogged down in that now. Maybe that's something we'll talk about in my upcoming Hooky and The Light video. Anyway, I've not shown you the vinyl yet, have I? I think there's some sort of insert here. Yeah, there's an insert. It'll probably be a replica of the CD insert with track listings, production notes and stuff, but it's the vinyl that I really want to show you. It's classed as, I think, icy mint green. And yeah, I would say that's very icy. Basically almost clear, but with some sort of like green splatters in it almost, really. But it's a very nice effect. That looks pretty nice on camera as well. Lovely. As I expected, this is now sticking to that. But I will sort that out off camera, as we're about done here anyway. An instant pre-order for me, this, and really happy that it's come out on vinyl, as Music for Pleasure did a year or two back. Monaco and Monaco. And that was Records Roundup 84. Thank you very much for watching this with me today. I want to say special thanks to my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons. I'm going to go now. get started listening to all that good stuff. Hopefully Records Roundup number 85 won't be too long. I know there's still some stuff that I'm waiting for that I've pre-ordered and is coming out kind of the first couple of weeks of June. Obviously that will have been and gone by the time you've watched this, but I'm always ahead of myself with these things. Anyway, let's worry about that down the road a piece. I will say my goodbyes now and ask that you join me again next time for the next Records Roundup and for my next general record collecting video. Cheers everyone. See ya!